The champagne was warm by the time she handed me the folder. Gold embossed, heavy paper, too formal for a party thrown in my honor, my retirement party. Music still played behind us, laughter, applause. Someone clinked a glass like this was a celebration instead of a public execution. "Surprise," my wife said, smiling the way people do when they think they've already won. Her children, my stepkids, stood behind her, phones out, grinning, waiting for the moment I'd break. Divorce papers, filed, prepared, final. I looked around the room I paid for, the banner with my name, the speeches rehearsed about loyalty and legacy, the company I'd built, the man they thought was finished. I picked up the pen. No shaking, no pause. I signed. Then I leaned close enough for only her to hear. "You have no idea what you just did." She laughed. That was the last moment she ever felt safe. I loved her once. That's the part people never believe. She came into my life when the boardroom was my only home and silence followed me everywhere else. She said she admired discipline, that she respected patience, that she wanted stability for her kids. I gave them everything. Private schools, trust funds, vacations they posted but never thanked me for. I paid for smiles that never reached their eyes. She used to touch my arm when I talked business, like she wanted to understand me, like I wasn't just a balance sheet. I mistook observation for affection. That was my first mistake. The signs were there long before the party. Her lawyer friend suddenly at dinner, her sudden interest in my retirement date, questions about timelines, about what transferred when. I noticed documents moved, statements copied, whispers that stopped when I entered rooms. The night I saw her delete a message and smile at her phone, I didn't confront her. I audited. Pain doesn't make me loud, it makes me precise. By the time she served me papers, I already knew the plan. Divorce at retirement, public humiliation, leverage the narrative, aging executive, emotional, distracted, pressure me into concessions before I realized what was happening. What she didn't know was that retirement for me wasn't an exit, it was a trigger. 3 years earlier, I'd quietly restructured everything. My shares weren't in my name anymore. They sat inside a retirement trust designed for one purpose: activate voting rights only when I stepped down. 76%. Dormant, invisible, patient, just like me. After the party, I moved silently. No lawyers yet, no accusations. I let her think I was numb, confused, broken, while she celebrated early. I documented everything. Her communications, her coordination with my former COO, the board member who promised her influence, the attempt to dilute my stake after retirement. They didn't know the trust made dilution impossible. They didn't know I still had access to every internal channel. They didn't know I'd already replaced the compliance team. I watched them hang themselves with spreadsheets and emails. Every betrayal time-stamped. Monday morning came faster than they expected. I wasn't in the building. I didn't need to be. At 8:02 a.m., the trust activated. At 8:03, voting rights transferred. At 8:05, an emergency board meeting was called. The agenda had one line item: clarification of authority following termination. Someone asked the question out loud. I listened through the secure line. Who just fired the person who owns 76% of the shares? Silence followed. Then panic. Then my name. I joined the meeting late, calm, prepared, remote camera on, retirement sweater. The man they thought was irrelevant. The CEO, the same one who'd hissed, "You're outdated, we're done here," couldn't meet my eyes. I spoke once. I'd like to introduce the trust's first action: reinstatement of position, immediate termination of executive leadership, internal audit release, regulatory disclosure. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. The votes were automatic, unanimous. Fear is persuasive. My ex-wife found out from the news. Her phone rang until it died. Accounts froze by noon. Trust challenges dismissed by sunset. Prenup clauses she'd laughed at, suddenly enforced with surgical cruelty. Her lawyer stopped answering. Her children deleted their posts. By Friday, the house was no longer hers. By Sunday, the story changed. She wasn't the victor anymore. She was the woman who miscalculated. We met once, after. No lawyers, no drama. She looked smaller, quieter, like someone realizing too late that silence can be a weapon. "You ruined me," she said. I shook my head. "You tried to take something that wasn't yours," I replied. I just stopped pretending. I stood to leave. She asked if I ever loved her. I paused. "Yes," I said. "That's why I planned carefully." Now I sit in my office again. Not the same one. Higher floor. Quieter. The company is stable, the board obedient, my name restored to something sharper than reputation.